Hello, and welcome back to The John, your daily sports app, where we plunge into the sports world. We are a sports pipeline for breaking news, game recaps, and the hottest take in the sports industry. So while you're taking care of business, let us fuss out the details and fill you in on what's happening. So take a seat, get comfortable, and make sure you have plenty of TP. It's time to explode the commode. I'm your host, John, and today we'll be talking about March Madness, the March Madness that happened this weekend and the craziness that happened. Then we'll talk about a preview for the Final Four and who I think could win the national championship out of the number one seeds remaining, which is crazy. 4 number one seeds in a Final Four is insane. Then, finally, the final topic of the day, I'll talk about MLB and the exciting start to the regular season. As you guys know, and as you can tell on my shirt, I'm sadly a Chicago White Sox fan, but I still have some hope because we're not out of it until we are officially out of it. But let's start this episode with sort of a breakdown of the weekend. Walter Clayton, what I learned from this weekend in college basketball is that Walter Clayton is that dude. He was the reason that Florida won this game. I have some stats pulled up right here. Florida ended the game on a 21-6 run. Also, Walter Clayton scored 22 points in the second half. I'm speechless. I don't know what to do. Some of these threes that he hits it's not what a normal college basketball player would do. That's why he's, an All-American. That's why he's a finalist for all of these awards. You don't expect it. You don't see it coming. I also have a sweet spot for him. My father and a bunch of family went to Iona, which is where he started his career at. So I do have a sweet spot for him. I want to see him win a ring. That would be awesome. Do I think he can do it though? It's going to be hard, and I'll get into that one later. But no, Walter Clayton was the reason that Texas won this game. Texas was down by 10 with 7 minutes left, and Walter Clayton Jr. said, "All right, I'll win the game for us." That was a crazy game. And if I'm Texas Tech, I'm heartbroken considering you were up by 10 with less than 10 minutes to go. It's just sometimes you can't. This is what makes NBA players NBA players. Walter Clayton Jr. is going to be in the NBA. The reason why is because he has that skill of making those crazy shots. You can't teach that. You can teach great defense, you can contest it as badly and as amazingly as you possibly want to, but it doesn't matter when Walter Clayton makes a contested three fading backwards. You can't do anything. Caleb Love played Duke and had 35. And that didn't matter because Cooper Flagg had 36, 7, and 3 blocks. Yes, 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 blocks. This dude's just not fair, guys. He's not fair. And then Duke went on to the Elite Eight, and they beat Alabama by 20 points. The highest scoring team in the country. They held to 65 points, and they just dominated them. Alabama hasn't looked that bad in, honestly, I think 3 years. They've lost games, but they looked awful. And Duke, a lot of people will say Duke is not great, or they weren't going to be great in March because there's a bunch of young freshmen. That does not matter, apparently, because they just beat a very veteran, seasoned Alabama team. Their top 2 players, Mark Sears and Grant Nelson, are both 5th years, I think, or 6th years. They've been in college for forever. They just got beat by a kid who's younger than me, a kid who's 17 years old, and a bunch of other freshmen. So I think that age argument is you can't use it anymore. They've proven that they can win in this league or in college, and that age does not matter. Skill is what matters, and they showed that they're better. And talking about skill and defense, holding teams to 65. Houston. You think defense, you think Houston. This is, I think, the best Kevin Sampson team I've ever seen. Now, yes, I'm 18, and he was a very great coach at Oklahoma. So, I don't have kind of that experience. But the 2021 team was good. I think this team's better. the fact that they shut down Tennessee and held them to 15 points. Now, I'm sorry to one of my buddies who's watching this, Daniel. I'm sorry that I'm giving Tennessee some garbage here, but I mean, I know we all wanted a closer game, but sometimes you just have to marvel at the fact that like that was a defensive clinic. Like that might not be beautiful for some of you guys, but for me, watching that game and watching that defensive dominance, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It's like some people looking at the Mona Lisa. That's like what it was for me. It was gorgeous to see. It was beautiful to see. It was pure dominance. A lot of people are saying they don't know how Houston's going to control the pace. Houston controlled the pace. They played how Houston wanted to. Slow, controlled defense. They control the pace of the game. And honestly, this matchup against Duke is going to be, I think, and I have this down in my show notes, I think it is and has the talent and the skill in the game to be a national championship game. I think it should have been. I think we are getting treated with a Final Four game that should be a national championship game, because I honestly think, and this kind of perfectly segues me into the next segment, I think whoever wins this Duke-Houston game wins the final. And I'm not saying, Auburn and Florida are not great teams. They're amazing teams. Janiah Broome came back from an injury and then hit a 3 yesterday. Tahad Pettiford is one of the best freshmen in the country. Walter Clayton Jr. is that dude. Elijah Martin is that dude. These teams are talented, but they're not defensively talented like Duke and Houston are. Duke and Houston are, I think, top 10 in defensive points per game. Houston's number 1. They don't even allow 60 a game. And Duke held Alabama, the top scoring offense, who averages 90 a game, to 65. So it's kind of two teams are great defensively. So I'm interested to see if will it be a possible high, because it's going to be a close game no matter what. But I'm interested to see how high scoring will it be. Will it be in the 50s? Will it be in the 60s? Will it be in the 80s? Because we've seen Duke can do that. Will Houston be able to keep up with that pace? That's what really interests me. And I was looking up some stats for this Final Four, because it's all 1 seeds, and it felt really rare seeing 4 1 seeds. And to my knowledge, this is the first Final Four since 2008 that all number 1 seeds were in the Final Four. And a lot of people might be like, "Oh, the field wasn't that great this year." No, the field was great. It's just these number 1 seeds are number 1 seeds for a reason. And as we saw Duke did, they destroyed Alabama. As we saw Houston destroyed Tennessee. As we saw Auburn, I wouldn't say destroy, but they beat Michigan State. As we saw Florida make something out of nothing and just showed that they deserve to be in the Final Four with that comeback. These teams have dominated all year long. And that's the reason why they're here. It's not because the field isn't good, because we didn't have a March Madness Cinderella run. No, it's just the field could not compete with how great these number 1 seeds were. So that's my point at it. And I do, as I said before, I love Florida. I want Walter Clayton to win, but I don't think they can compete with Duke or Houston, just defensively. I think they'll get shut down. I don't know if they can hold that. I don't think they can hold that sort of defensive skill, especially Florida. We've seen Florida this tournament in the round of 32 and then in the Elite Eight again. They kind of got cold, and I mean, they were losing to UConn for a good chunk of that second half, and then Texas Tech they were losing too. So like, it's a very iffy thing if I'm a Florida fan, especially because if we get in a hole against Auburn, yeah, we beat Auburn, but it's still a scary, scary game for me, honestly. Now I want to talk MLB, exciting, amazing weekend. My White Sox had one great game, and I mean, honestly, we did have a great game. I'm going to talk a little bit about the White Sox now because I'm thinking about it, all right? So we won our first game 8-1, and then we lost our next 2 games by 1 run each. But listen, the White Sox are a very young team. Their pitchers did not give up an earned run this weekend. Let me repeat that so you guys understand. An earned run. That means our pitchers did not give up a run. Now, runs were scored, but they were unearned. They were unforced errors. And me being a Sox fan, I did not expect us to win. I don't expect us to win. I don't expect us to be a good team. But seeing that our young pitching has promise is the most exciting thing for me. Having our top 3 guys who are probably going to be with us for the coming future with Sean Burke, Davis Martin, and Jonathan Cannon, having these 3 guys kind of run the team, lead the team in pitching, these are the 3 most important guys. Now with Thorpe being out, with Tommy John, it's very exciting for me. So that was my little rant on the White Sox, but now we'll talk more about the MLB and the teams that have succeeded. The Dodgers, they're 5-0, or yeah, I think 5-0 if I'm not mistaken. But the people they played in the World Series, the Yankees, look like losing Juan Soto doesn't mess with them at all. I don't know if you guys saw this weekend, they hit 3 home runs to start a game. And this weekend, they had, at the plate, they had 36 runs, 34 hits, 15 home runs, and 16 walks. As a team, they hit 333, which is insane. Now, yes, I know I may be overreacting. It's the first weekend, not even week of MLB season. But 36 runs in the span of 3 games is 12 runs a game. That is insane for baseball. And now they're not going to be able to keep 12 runs a game up for a year, but I thought this Yankees team would not be as explosive offensively without Juan Soto, and it looks like that's completely changed. It looks like with losing Soto that their players have stepped up, which is kind of impressive. And obviously, Aaron Judge has hit in 11 at-bats, so yes, take this with a grain of salt, only 11 at-bats. He has 6 hits. 4 of them are home runs. Now, yes, he did have a big 3 home run game, but still, 4 home runs out of his 6 hits is crazy. So that means he's hitting over 500. 11 RBIs and only has struck out 2 times. That's insane. Striking out twice compared to 11 RBIs, 11 at-bats, 6 hits, 4 home runs. There's a reason this dude is the MVP, and honestly, he's probably going to run it back. I think there's a very good chance we could have 2 back-to-back MVPs, one in the AL, one in the NL. I think Ohtani can run it back, and I think Judge can do it too. And then on another note, a team that doesn't usually get the limelight because they're garbage, the Marlins won 3 games on 3 walk-off hits, and this puts them in a kind of rare sort of group. The 2003 Rays, the 1998 Mets, the Kansas City Packers in 1914. Yes, the Packers were an MLB team at one point. And then the 1900 Reds. These are the only teams to do this in MLB history, which it's kind of weird hearing the Marlins in some sort of good MLB history. Usually they are historically awful. I mean, yes, they have 2 World Series, but their ownership is awful. Their fan bases don't want to show up because their teams are always bad. So this is a good thing for the Marlins. I don't think they're going to be good, but it's a good thing for them. And then finally, I'll talk a little bit about the undefeated teams. The first 3 of these teams are not really surprising to me. These teams are star-loaded. The Dodgers, Yankees, and Padres, these teams have talent. They're going to be in the World Series contention. That's something we know. But the 4th team, which was the most surprising of them all, and me being in Peoria, Illinois, I'm surrounded by a lot of these Cardinals fans. But yeah, St. Louis Cardinals are undefeated right now. Now, yes, it's really early in the season. They did beat the Twins, though, and the Twins are a relatively good team. So if I'm a Cardinals fan, I'm an excited person right now. I'm an excited fan. They got young talent. They kept Nolan Arenado after some question marks this offseason. So I would be a very excited fan if I was rooting for the Cardinals. But thanks for tuning into today's episode of The John, where we talked about the crazy weekend in March Madness, my Final Four preview, and the exciting weekend in the first weekend in MLB season. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for hot takes and sports updates in real time. And if you're looking for even more sports talk, check out the Sports Syllabus Show, where my partner and I dive into the hottest takes in the sports industry. It's a 2-ply discussion, strong, reliable, and always ready to clean up the messiest take in sports. Join me next time on The John, your daily sports dump, where we'll be birthing a butt of baby expert sports analysis. Until then, keep your game face on and stay regular. This is The John, signing off.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.